Welcome back to Jessica's Craft Time. My name's Jessica, and today we have our Whip and Chat. Whip standing work in progress. Chat, we just chat about what the week's been happening. And I'm still on Russia with Love. I haven't touched this since last week. I did a little bit that night after I did the last filming, but it has been a week. So, let's get into it. I think I might start over here. Well, what have we done? It's been busy. So I started doing some data entry work, and I'm realizing very quickly that there is not enough hours in the day at all. So between school drop off and pick up, and then trying to keep on top of washing and dishes and cooking and household stuff, I'm struggling, which has been why there has been very few videos, because I'm struggling to get things done. But that's life. So we'll keep battling on and keep doing what we're doing and getting as much as I can done in between doing everything else. So that's where we're at. Saturday was Russian school, which Mark's doing really well. They changed it again. So originally it was 9 till 1, and then they were going to do 12 till 2, which I'm like, that's just a really hard time on a Saturday. But she decided that she was going to try and do the extra work with the 2 boys that need a little bit more help during the normal class. So he's back to 9 till 1, which kind of sucks for him because it means that he's now missing 2 birthday parties I said he could go to. Which reminds me, I still need to message the other mum and say, sorry, but we are not going to be able to make it. Which I feel really bad for Mark, because he really wants to go to the birthday parties and I feel he's missing out. But he also needs to keep up with his Russian school, and he's not... he doesn't know enough at the moment to be able to skip weeks to go to a party. So that's where we're at with him. So I did some work on Saturday while he was at school. And then Saturday afternoon when we picked him up, hubby's got a drone for work, which is going to help him heaps when he needs to do big buildings that's not safe to get up on the roof. Well, it is safe, but you've got to have the right things in place. You've got to be harnessed on and all that kind of stuff. And just for an inspection, it's going to be so much easier to put a drone up, take the photos he needs, and be done with it. So his work has a function coming up that they want to do a little bit of a presentation with him using the drone. So Saturday afternoon, we went and took some video of him using the drone and some video of the drone flying. And it is really hard because there's actually quite a lot of regulations that you're meant to follow when you have a drone. Now, I don't think a lot of people do, but one of the regulations is you have to be 30 meters away from anybody. And if you're not, you have to ask the permission of everybody around whether they mind you flying a drone and potentially taking video of them. So on a Saturday afternoon, trying to find somewhere that we can take some video with the drone where there's not people around was quite a difficult task. So they're not overly exciting video of it because we had to find somewhere that no one was around. That was also a clear area that we could put the drone up in. Anyway, so we found that. And then the afternoon just went. Oh, no, then we had a play date. So Mark had one of his first play dates with one of the kids from school. And we were still at the park as it got dark because the kids were having fun and I was having a chat to the mum. So that was really good. And that was Saturday gone. I'm like, where are the days going? They're just going way too quick. And I'm tired at night. So my idea was that if I didn't get stuff done during the day, get any work, I'd be able to do some at night once Mark was in bed. And I did it one night and it was a struggle. It took me so much longer to do what I needed to do because my brain just wasn't working, because for so long I have a mindset that once I have dinner, that's it. That's me done. No housework. You know, I might put the dishes away, like stack them ready for the next day to wash, but that's it. Once my dinner's done, other than getting Mark to bed, I don't do anything. I do crafts, like enjoyable, like relaxation stuff. But as for any form of work, and I've done it that way for quite a long time. Even before, when I was working before Mark, I used to get home. I tend to be able to do more things in the morning. So, you know, washing and dishes, and I've got a lot more energy for that in the morning. And then once I had dinner, that was it. I tap out. No longer mum, no longer wife. I'm done for the day. It's a very hard mindset to change. But if I'm going to get some work done, I'm going to have to battle through it. And Saturday was done. The film ended up, I think it was like Tuesday night, I finally put it all on the computer and put in the different ones, different footage that we had, and I think it came together well. So I was itching. Hubby dropped it off yesterday to his boss, and he gets home last night. I'm like, has your boss looked at it yet? It's like, no, not yet. I'm like, well, I need to know, because I need to know if he wants me to adjust it or change it, or like, does he like it? He's like, settle down. It's fine. I really like it. It's fine. I'm sure he'll love it. I'm like, I know, but I want to do a good job on it. So I think it works out all right. I think it'll be fine. And then Sunday was just a really busy day because we're driving home Saturday. It must have been after we finally finished doing the videos, and we had like, I don't know, not even an hour to call past the shop, pick up something for lunch, come home, cook it before we had the play date. And I said to hubby, I said, oh, have you got a gift for the christening tomorrow? He's like, no, I thought you said you sorted it. I'm like, well, yeah, when we got those like little toy things, I'm like, that could work for like a gift, like a token gift, but it's a christening. We can't give them a cheap little toy. Like, it's a christening. Like, no. And he's like, oh, well, what are we going to do? I'm like, I don't know. We've got to be there at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And it sounds like late, but the shops around here don't open till 10. And the church is 45 minutes away. So there's no hope in going to the shop in the morning here, like at home, and then getting to the church. I'm like, oh. And because I'm still getting to know where suburbs are in Sydney, like I know of them, but try and ask me to place them on a map and I have no idea where they are. I'm like, oh, what about like something from Swarovski? Because they do some really nice crystal stuff. And he's like, yeah, that could work. I'm like, well, there's an outlet at the DFO. Well, there used to be. So I jumped online and checked, and yeah, the outlet was still there. I'm like, okay, how far is the DFO, which DFO is a big shopping centre. It's direct factory outlets. So it's all outlet shops. So your shops will have an outlet shop, and that's where they sell, you know, discontinued and that kind of items. And I said, well, how far? And we looked at the maps. I'm like, okay, well, it's only 15 minutes from the church. So why don't we aim to be there at 10? So then we can go shopping, hopefully find something, and then go straight from there to the church. Okay, we had a plan. So then as I'm going to bed Saturday night, I'm like, I haven't got a card. Like, I don't even know if I've got wrapping paper. So I went to bed, got up at like 7 a.m. For me, that's early. Normally a school day alarm goes off at 7:30. So it's half an hour earlier than a school day. Get up. Everyone else is still asleep. Go out into the garage. Whip up a card. Okay, card done. I'm right. Okay, pull out the bag box thing that all the wrapping stuff's in. I'm like, all right, there's a couple of option of gift bags in here. I'm pretty low on wrapping paper, but there's a couple of gift bags. That'll be easier. I'll take one of 3 different sizes. Right, done. Card done. They're done. And I'd looked at the calendar. I'm like, damn, it was the child that was getting christening. It was her brother's birthday the weekend beforehand. I'm like, okay, I need something for him. We can't show up without something for him. So found something for him in, you know, the present box stash. Damn, now I need a card. Luckily, found a card that I'd already made. Thank you for having some extra. Reminds me I'm really low on my cards and need to get some bulk. Do some more cards. So I've got some cards waiting to go. So did that. Got the pen, got the sticky tape. Okay, everything's sorted. Packed some food because Mark, even if he's just had breakfast or we've just had lunch, if he's in the car, he's always going to ask me for food. Always. Like, without fail, we've been at a restaurant for an hour, 2 hours, get back in the car. Mummy, I'm hungry. So packed him some food because I'm like, if he doesn't eat it on the way there, he's going to want it on the way back. Packed him food, finally get everyone else up, shower, out the door by 9 o'clock. I'm like, yes, finally, out the door. So we got to the DFO and it was actually, we got there early. It was just before. But that's okay because we all play Pokemon. So we jumped out of the car and we had a couple of, 10 minutes on playing Pokemon each. And of course, because we're in a new area, all the Pokemon are popping up everywhere. I'm finally like, all right, boys, we have to put the phones away and we have to go in and do this. If we've got time on the way out, we can do some more Pokemoning. So, of course, as we go up the escalators into the shopping centre, what happens? There's a playground there at the top of the escalators as you come in. Now, I'm sure I've missed some of these. What I'm going to do, I packed all this away. So I've got this little, hang on, let me get it out. This little tray thing that has, that one's the wrong way and it's going to annoy me. 6 different trays. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my extra 5s in there because I'm sure I've missed a couple. And they're out ready to go when we need them. Yeah, so a playground right as you walk in. Mark's like, I want to play in the playground. I'm like, dude, it's 9 a.m. Like, we just got up. We have to get this present first. So we're walking around and hubby's like, oh, let's go into this shop. I'm like, that's a kid's clothing store. And he's like, yeah, we're here for a child's christening. I'm like, I thought we decided we wanted to look at Swarovski's. Like, oh, I thought we were just going to have a look around to see what we can find. I'm like, look, Swarovski's just around the corner. Let's go around there and have a look. If they don't have something or we're umming and ahhing, then we'll go and have a look at the other shops first. And we went in there and we found a little crystal rocking horse that said baby's first rocking horse. I'm like, that's adorable. I like it. Let's get it. So we did. And then we're like, well, now we have half an hour to kill because we've got here too early. I'm like, yes. And if we had got here too late, there wouldn't have been anything. We would have been running around and whatever. So he went off to get a coffee. I'm like, okay, Mark, now you can play in the playground. So Mark went and played in the playground. I sat there and played Pokemon. Hubby got a coffee. And we were all chilled and relaxed. And we showed up at the church before we needed to. We weren't in a hurry. I hate being like running in a hurry. Like, I hate it. And normally in the morning with hubby, that's the case. So it was really nice to actually get to the church. And it was great. We got to see quite a few people we haven't seen for a while. Had the christening. Mark was pretty good. He just didn't want to stand still. So I'm like, dude, you just need to stand still. And unfortunately, it takes about 45 minutes. So it's not a short time that he's standing still. So anyway, had the actual christening, and then they had the hall. They'd hired the hall out at the church, and we had some lunch. And it was really yummy, as always. Never disappointed with the food. They all cook amazing. And we were sitting there, and I looked out into the church grounds. So we'd shut the gates at the front so the kids couldn't get out. And there was kids everywhere. I'm like, when did we all have so many kids? There was just kids everywhere. And they were all really good. There wasn't really any arguments, or if there was, I didn't hear about them. Now, I'm pretty sure I've got all of that colour because there's not much of that left. And they all just played and ran around and played games for like 2 hours. They were so good. And I thought, right. So by the time most of the people had left and we'd cleaned up what we could, stripped all the tables. They have a pretty good system that they bring plastic tubs, so all the plates that we use and all the cutlery just goes back. We don't wash it at the church. It all just goes back into the plastic tubs, and someone takes them home and washes them. So, but it still takes time to pack up and sort all the food and get everything sorted, and then walk it all up to the cars. So we did all that. And the kids just ran and ran and ran and played and ran and played. I'm like, Mark is going to crash. That's it. He's going to crash. He'll be asleep within 2 minutes of the car. He stayed awake the whole way home. I was so happy, because the problem was, by the time we left, it was like after 4, around 4 o'clock. And if he fell asleep in the car then, he would likely wake up when we got home or keep sleeping on the couch. And then it would be 10 o'clock at night and he'd still not want to go to bed. But he stayed awake for the whole thing. He was exhausted. His eyes were almost popping out of his head. But he stayed awake. I was so proud of him. So proud of him for staying awake. So that at least made bedtime a lot easier. It was just a really long day by the time we got home. And socializing, I don't see many people often, so it was nice to socialize and see everyone. And yeah, so that that was our weekend. We were done and dusted, and nothing got done around the house. Again, my garden is crazy. I need to get into it. Oh, my light, hang on. My light's just, I think it's because it's plugged into a USB thing. It's just died. You can still see. So yeah, my gardens are well and truly overgrown and need some serious attention, but that's not going to happen anytime soon because our weekends are chockers. Um, last, was it Saturday? Must have been the weekend before. Yeah, I had, I'm a local drop-off for lids for kids, so people save their lids of milk bottles and things and drop them off, and I had them picked up the week before, but she couldn't fit everything that I had in my car, everything I had here in her car, and she's recently moved, and where she used to live, I'd have to go out of my way to drop them off, but where she lives now is on the way up to the hills. So it works out perfect for me. Whatever's left, the next trip we do up the hills, we'll just take a load and drop it on our way past. She's like not even 5 minutes off the freeway. So it's only going to add an extra sort of maybe 10, 15 minutes to our trip. So I'm excited about that. I'll be able to get them. I sorted the rest of them on Tuesday. We finally got our internet installed. It's been going on for months, since March, trying to get this NBN stuff sorted. So we finally got the internet. And at the moment, New South Wales, where I live, out west, around all the farms and that, are having a huge mouse plague. Like, huge mouse plague. Yesterday someone lost their home to it because the mice had got in and eaten through electrical cords that set fire to the house. So we had the NBN guy come out to switch our internet over, and he had to get up into our roof cavity, and he comes back down and he's like, which I wasn't expecting him to. So I'm like, you can, but our manhole's in the most stupid spot ever in the garage, where there's a dividing wall, or partition wall, not dividing walls, not all the way to the roof, solid. And there's a heap of boxes in front of it. So if you need to get up, by all means, I just need help moving the boxes, because trying to get up and down with the boxes on the ladder in the really tight little area that there is, it's just so much easier with someone else. So he helped me, and man, luckily this guy was skinny, because the way he had to maneuver to get into the manhole around his ladder, because there's shelves either side. So you've got manhole, and then the partition wall must be just one side of it. No, it's in the middle. Maybe the partition's cut out there. I can't remember now. But either side of it, there's shelving up near the ceiling, which is where we store things like, I don't know, the section he was in was all the baby stuff. And on the other side's all our like luggage bags. And he comes back down and we're just chatting. He's like, yeah, it's really tight in the corner here, but I got the cable through. It's connected. Because he was up there for ages. The bonus of him being up there for ages is I was standing in the garage waiting for him to come down so that I could just make sure the ladder was stable for him, and, you know, if he needed anything, I was there. So I decided to start cleaning out my shelving unit in there, and I found $30, which I was rapt about. I forgot I had out there. So it's like, woohoo, this has been beneficial. And I've been meaning to clean these shelves out for ages. Woohoo, I've done it. So I cleaned the shelves out and sorted all that out there. But as he got down, he's like, just letting you know you have mice in your roof. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. When I was pulling, like, if you move the insulation up there, you can see where they're burrowing through the insulation, and there's a lot of mice droppings. He goes, it has been baited up there. I'm like, well, no one's put bait up there for 4 years at least. So if there was bait up there, it's useless now. So he goes, you might want to do something about it. And I'm like, yeah, we will, because, you know, there's a mouse plague going on in Western New South Wales and it's expected to hit the Sydney area by August. I don't want to already have a head start on that. And hubby's like, oh, it's fine. Most people have mice in their roof. I'm like, I still don't like the idea. Can we please get some bait and put some bait up there, because I don't want mice living in our roof. No. If I've already made a cozy home and this mouse plague's meant to hit New South Wales, hit Sydney, no. Just no. So I called my father-in-law, because it's his house we live in. I'm like, do you have any bait? He's like, what? I'm like, do you have any bait for mice? He's like, no, I don't think I do. I'm like, that's okay. I'm just checking if you had some extra, I'd grab it off you, because I'm seeing my mother-in-law on Friday. So I would have grabbed it off her then. I'm like, that's fine. We'll go and get some. He's like, yeah, we've got bait up there. I'm like, yeah, but we've been here nearly 4 years. Like, you haven't put bait up there since we've been here. I'm like, oh, by the way, can you come and do it? I'm like, because hubby's not going to fit up there and I don't like confined spaces. I've already been on the roof once and I really didn't enjoy that. So, yeah, I'll get the bait. Can you come and put it in the roof? So I'm going to have to get my father, just because he's a little bit smaller than hubby. Not by much, but he is. And I don't like being in those kind of areas. I said to the NBN guy, I'm like, that's all right. I'll just send my 5-year-old up there. He'll fit. I could just lift him up into the hole. So we got mice in our roof. But we have internet, and so far it's working, which I'm kind of excited about. And then Monday, what a day Monday was. Could the day get any worse? Monday was not good for hubby, was not good for me. I had friends round for dinner Monday night. So trying to do work as well as cook a roast. So that's all right. Got up, worked out the timing of everything. I'm like, okay, in between, because I can only do about an hour solid on the computer before I've got to get up and move around for a little bit before I can sit down again. So it's because I'm not used to being on a computer. I don't know. Hubby said that, you know, he recommends that you get up and move around after an hour anyway. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So in between working, every hour I'd get up and do something more for dinner. So I made some really yummy applesauce. We had pork roast. I made some really, really yummy applesauce. And then, but the day didn't start well. So first thing in the morning, like we just got out of bed, Mark was settling himself on the couch to have breakfast, and hubby went up to the couch and turned around and knocked a glass, smashed it on the floor. Smash, gone. So vacuum cleaner out, clean up the smashed glass. Like, this is first thing. I haven't even had a drink. I think all I'd managed to do was go to the toilet before it happened. So glass smashed. I'm like, okay, smashed glass, whatever. You know, it happens. Yeah, the day didn't get any better. So then, after the smashed glass, it's all right, got Mark off to school. Hubby's working away. I'm like, well, the vacuum cleaner's already out. I might as well do like a really dodgy, quick vacuum of the floors. Nothing that I'd really warrant that I vacuumed my floors, but enough to, like, you know, just pick up some of the dirt in the main traffic areas. I wasn't going to be moving furniture and stuff, so I just did a quick vacuum. But the cupboard that we store our shoes in by the front door, the little stopper at the bottom had come off, and I knelt down to fix it, and then I knelt the wrong way, or I tripped or something, and I snapped the handle on my vacuum cleaner. I'm like, damn. Like Dyson vacuum cleaner, not cheap, good vacuum cleaner. So called out to hubby. He came with the duct tape, and we've duct taped the handle back on. The issue is, if it was just the handle bit, it would be fine. But it's the handle bit that has the bit that you pull to let air flow through. Yeah. So we've taped it as securely as we can, and it will just have to do. So that was all right. So I finished cleaning, picked Mark up. But hubby was all in a crazy rush because he had training online. He was running a training session that ran over by half an hour, which meant he was then half an hour late leaving here to get the other side of town to do inspections in the afternoon. So he was late to the inspections, but there was nothing he was able to do. So he was running around like his head was cut off, trying to get out the door after his training finished. So he did that. And then Mark got home, and I realised that the people were having round, it was their son's birthday the other week. And I'm like, we haven't celebrated with him. So damn, I forgot to buy a cake. Okay, let's whip up a cake. Well, that was a disaster because first Mark was being silly in the kitchen and dropped my favourite mixing bowl and broke it. So down one mixing bowl, and it's my nice big one too. And then I'm like, well, I can't put it in the oven because the oven's not hot enough because I'm slow cooking this roast. So it's going to have to go in the microwave in the pressure cooker, which I've never done before, but everyone says it's easy and it only takes 8 minutes. I'm like, well, that's perfect because we've got to get this thing out of it, cooled, and then iced with something. So I found most people use like a packet mix, cake mix in their pressure cooker. Yeah, I didn't have one of them. I couldn't leave the house to go to the supermarket because I was in between, the roast had to have the temperature turned at this time and the veggies had to go in here, and like, no, I didn't have time to go to the shops. And sometimes at that time of the day, it can take like an hour round trip to get to the shop. So that was out of the question. So I'm like, right, I've got enough ingredients. Let's whip up a cake. And when you second guess yourself and you're like, oh, I know I'm doing this wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm beating the cake mix and I'm like, this seems like a real big cake batter. It's definitely bigger than a cake box mix. So I'm like, whatever, I'll throw it in. What'll happen? So I throw it into the microwave and I'm like, oh, do you reckon I should up the time a little bit? Like, no, everyone says 8 minutes. I'll just do 8 minutes. I'm like, should I do 9 or 10? No, just do 8. So I did 8. Cake cooks. Get it out. Drop it onto the cooling rack. The bottom sticks in the bottom of the pressure cooker. The middle of it's like a lava cake. And now I've got the top half that's got an indent in it that's full of cake mix. Half of it's stuck in the bottom of the pressure cooker. I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? I knew I shouldn't have put all that batter in at once. Yeah, when you go to yourself, oh, I don't think you should do this. Don't keep doing what you were doing. So I'm like, oh, I tried to put the cake back in and thought to try and cook. I'm like, that's not going to happen. So I scooped all the cake batter out and then whipped up some just icing and cocoa. And then as I'm beating the icing and cocoa, I'm like, this is going to taste like really cheap icing because it's not the best cocoa. I realized that I had cocoa powder, but my yummy flavorista stuff that is like full of all these goodness and tastes amazing, and I've used the cheap stuff for the icing. I'm like, all right, how are we going to make this cake any better that we've destroyed the cake? I've made crappy icing. I'm like, let's put lollies and sprinkles on it. So we put lollies and sprinkles on it, and it did make it somewhat better. except I put way too much icing because I poured too much milk into my icing. And so I'm like, oh, I'll just add more icing sugar. And then I'm pouring it on the cake going, I should probably just not pour all of it on. But I did. And then I had icing like floating around the bottom of the plate. But that was all right. And in the midst of all of this, I'm like, damn, I forgot to buy anything else to drink other than cider or wine or cordial. I'm like, I really want a bottle of soft drinks. So I called hubby and said, look, can you just stop on your way home to get a couple of bottles of soft drink? Because I can't get to the shop to do it and I want something other than cordial to drink. He's like, yeah, sure, cool, not a problem. Then I get a call back like half an hour later. Well, actually, I really haven't moved in traffic and I'm going to be late anyway. Do you want me to stop and get drinks still? I'm like, look, no, don't worry about it. We'll just live with what we've got. Like, if you're going to be half an hour late anyway, whatever, just get home. Just don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Like, it's not the biggest deal. I'm like, I can message my girlfriend and say, look, if you want something to drink, if you do want some soft drink to drink, bring your own because I don't have any. And then I'm like, oh, hang on. Because we don't have like, in Melbourne, we had milk bars, which were like corner shops that we always had one close by. I always remember living near somewhere that had a milk bar close by. But here I don't. I don't have one in walking distance. Not that's more than like, I mean, I can go up to the local shops, but that's like an hour round trip walking with a 5-year-old. So I'm like, oh, we've got the fish and chip shop down the road. I'm like, they sell drinks. Yes, it's going to be more expensive than the supermarket, but we'll get our drinks. I'll run down to the fish and chip shop. So I said to Mark, quick, throw on your shoes. I don't care if you've got socks on or not. We've got 8 minutes before this timer goes off and I've got to get the rest of the veggies in. So let's run. I forgot it was Monday night. The fish and chip shop shut. I'm like, damn it, we did all that running for no reason. Got back home. They show up. I'm like, look, I'm sorry. Hubby's not going to be here for a bit. He's stuck in traffic. We'll hold off as long as we can to eat, but I know like it's a school night and the kids need to get to bed. So I was holding off, just doing the last of the veggies, waiting for the meat to rest. And I get a phone call from hubby. I'm okay, but I've been in a car accident. I'm like, what? No. I'm like, you're sure you're all right? He's like, look, I've got a bit of a headache and it hurts a little bit where the seatbelt was, but I'm okay. I'm like, okay, but how's the car? He's like, well, the car's fine. I'm like, what? He goes, we've got a bit of a bent bumper. I'm like, okay, we can deal with a bent. I'm like, is it drivable? Can you get home? It's like, yeah, it's drivable. I can get home. I'm like, okay, well, as long as you're all right and you can get home, we'll see when I can see you. The issue was he caused major traffic delays because it was right in one of the busiest roads in the area and they were stuck in the middle lane and half sticking into the right-hand lane. So what happened was there was 2 hatchback cars behind him and hubby has a Ranger. He has a big U. And there was 2 hatchbacks behind him and the light was green, but the traffic was really built up. So he was stopped on the green light, but right at the front. As soon as the traffic cleared the other side of the intersection, he would have been able to go. And all of a sudden, he was jolted forward. So what he thinks happened was there was him, a hatchback, and a hatchback. He thinks this hatchback it was a P-plater, was trying to change lanes and must have hit the accelerator instead of the brake, ran up the back end of this hatchback that ran into our car. These 2 cars were smashed to smithereens. Like, they were not drivable. They were not going home. The chick that hit everyone had to actually climb out through her boot because they couldn't get the doors open in the car. And we've got a bent bumper. We think the car's still got to go off to be assessed. We're hoping there's no other structural damage to the car. The sensors are all going to be out. But with COVID happening, the assessment place is like, well, we have a really bad backlog. It's taking longer for things to get here. So what we're doing, if you want to bring the car in to be assessed, is it drivable? Hubby's like, yeah, it's drivable. It's just got the bent bumper. We just need to assess to make sure that there's no other damage on the car. So they've said, look, what we do is we'll bring you in, get your car assessed, and then we order all the parts in. Once all the parts are in, we'll call you back and you can bring the car in. So normally what would happen is you drop it off and they just order the parts and your car would stay there until all the parts come in. But because this car's able to be driven, luckily we're not without a car. And he's okay, but the hatchback in the middle, they didn't speak English. And hubby was having a great deal of difficulty trying to get them off the road. So he called the police because he's like, they all exchanged details. There was no issues there. But he's like, we were blocking up. It was a 3-lane road and they were blocking up 1.5 lanes right in the middle of peak hour. So he called the cops or called emergency services and said, look, no, we're all fine. We don't need an ambulance, but we've got 2 disabled cars, so we're blocking up the road. We can't get them off the road. So he said the fire truck showed up with 2 tow trucks, and the fire, thought, because hubby was all in high-vis vests because he'd been at work, thought that he had actually just stopped to help. And he's like, no, I've been hit, but my car's drivable. And once the fireys got there, he's like, all right, that's fine. You guys, you can go. And they dealt with it because he was having trouble just even trying to explain to the people, like, you need to get off the side of the road. The cars have been hit. We can't move them. The hazard lights are on. But the worst thing was they were just over the crest of a hill. So people were coming up the hill and getting over and going, uh-oh, car accident. Like, people couldn't even see at a distance there was an accident. So it was just a really bad time of the day to do it. So he finally got home. We'd finished... I think he got home as we started singing Happy Birthday at the cake. I don't even know if he was here to sing Happy Birthday. No, I think he got home by the time we had the cake. So we said goodbye to the friends and he finally got to sit down and eat his dinner. I'm like, damn it, that was really good when it was warm. He's like, it's still really good now. I'm like, yeah, but it's still not as good as what it is when it's like hot. So that was it just nothing worked on Monday. And then I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've had enough. We've had visitors. I'm done and dusted for the day. And I'm laying on the couch watching TV and hubby comes in and he goes, can you get on the computer and print me a sign? I'm like, really? Like, no, but okay. He goes, just print out of service and I want to hang it around my neck. I'm like, okay, no. I getcha. It was just one of those days that nothing went right. But we did have, we had the lunar eclipse last night and that was pretty cool. I got some pretty cool photos from, if I try and remember, I might add a couple to the end of the Wip and Chat. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Hubby got the telescope out and we were trying to take photos through the telescope of the moon. It looked pretty cool. So, yeah, this week's done for us. We're had enough. We've had enough. And I'm blaming the moon. I'm blaming the full moon. That's what's causing everything to happen. So hopefully we can get through the rest of the week. Hubby's excited. He's got a huge function. They have the whole of the company fly in for a function on Friday. Mind you, I don't think the Melbourne people will be able to come up. So anyone in Melbourne, I'm thinking of you and the cases you're getting down there. Hopefully it doesn't get too big and you don't go into a full lockdown again. If anyone's in Victoria that watches my channel, thinking of you, and you know, my heart sank. Last I heard there was sort of 15 cases, and my heart sank this morning on the way home from school when I heard that had increased. So thinking of all you Melbourne people. Other than that, that's probably our week. I hope nothing else happens. I didn't even do. I did one. Can I reach it? I did do one square on my peppermint purple sal last night, but I'm still 3 weeks behind. So I want to try and get that done. I might take that away with me. We might be going away this weekend, so I might take that away with me and do it while I'm away. I've got to go and print off the other chart. But other than that, hopefully I'll get this one finished because I rolled it up and put it away on Monday night and it's only just come out and it's Thursday today. So hopefully I'll get this finished. I'd really, really love to have this finished, but it's a little bit big to take anywhere. So that might be it for me today. I hope you all have a lovely week and a good weekend. And I will get some videos up as soon as I can. Just nothing at the moment. I haven't got any plans to get anything else up. I don't think I've got anything coming in. So at the moment, it might just be my weekly Wip and Chats. But hopefully next week you will not see this and we'll be on to a new canvas because I just want this finished. If you want to see it finished, head over to my Facebook page. The link's in the description box below, and you'll be able to join my Facebook group and see this one finished because it's not far off and I might just have to stay up tonight and finish it. So anyway, take care and we'll see you all next week. Bye.